What is up, guys? So if you saw in the last video, I got this thing running. I actually put the car fully together and it was like ready to go. Tried to bleed the coolant, it didn't really work. Now I deleted my heater core, so my lines are a little messed up and I don't have anything connected to the oil cooler. So I actually got just a cheap oil cooler. I'm testing fitment on where I want it to go, but the coolant wasn't bleeding correctly, so I'm taking it apart and I have some pieces coming in that I'm going to test out and see if they actually work. I'm going to try to delete all the bypass valves and simplify everything. So I'm getting those parts later this week, so we'll see what happens with that. Right now, I'm just kind of test fitting on where I want to put the oil cooler and where I can route lines. I'm probably just going to zip tie it to the bar for now while I'm still crafting over here, because I want to make a new front end eventually, but just to get it running and driving, I'm probably just going to zip tie it to the crash bar. It does fit pretty good in here, but as you can see, the ports, I'd have to like drill into the main support of this whole entire thing, and it's already kind of flimsy because I had to cut a whole bunch of it out for this boost pipe. So yeah, gonna be receiving parts soon, so I gotta take all of this back apart to get to the thermostat housing and take it apart, because I think my thermostat is just bad. I got a Motorcraft 180-degree one, doesn't work. So yeah, gonna be redesigning the coolant on this thing, so that's fun. What better time to work on a car and tear it back apart is right after it's done. Pretty much what I'm trying to do here is delete this and delete all these valves right here. There's a crossover pipe. I just want to get rid of that. The naturally aspirated block for the 1.6 liter has a thermostat housing that doesn't have the bypass. So what I'm going to do is try to put that on. I don't know if it's going to bolt up. It was 12 bucks. I ordered it. We're going to see, and then it'll just go directly back to the expansion tank. So, and it'll use a traditional style thermostat that's like normal, easy to get to. So I won't have to worry about any of that stuff. Bolted right up as I suspected. So we'll see how that works, but overall it just fits way better than the other one. No diverter valves in there. It looks really clean. I'll put the part numbers for everything I used in the description or in the video somewhere. So yeah, let's get the oil cooler figured out. I think I'm gonna have to order more lines, but we'll get there. All right guys, so I got the thermostat in, took the oil cooler off, and since we have an actual oil cooler on this car, it has this really long bolt, as you can see, it goes all the way through the oil cooler, male on both ends. So since it's male on both ends, we're gonna need a bolt like this, or at least an adapter like this, so we can run our new oil cooler. The one I went with is the Sousa from SetRab. It's a thermostat oil cooler, has a little thermostat in there. Looks pretty nice. Got it because it was chrome. But see, it comes with this. So we're gonna need to get a pipe nipple that's male to male. So yeah, yet again another $4 part keeping me from finishing the car today, but I'm gonna go get that tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day. Got back from Summit. This is the piece I'm gonna be using. It's just a little thread adapter nipple. Got some more fittings too. All right, so to install this, make sure you plug that if you're not using a sensor, but pretty much just stick the thing through that they gave you, hand thread that on there, and then put the O-ring on, and you just put it on. So that'll give you something like that. Before you tighten it, you can clock it whatever direction you want it to be. I'm gonna do mine like this, so everything's just easily accessible. I can put a sensor up there if I want to. Lines come out. So yeah, it's pretty simple once you get the piece. So you fill it up with oil, then you run it for a couple seconds, then check it, because it takes about a quart of oil to fill the entire system, and then put more in it and you're good. All right guys, so surprise, it was leaking. The fittings that I got, and typically what you're gonna see with these kinds of fittings that seal directly on a surface and there's no cutout for an O-ring, they don't actually work very good at all. So whenever you try to tighten them, it's gonna extrude that O-ring out to the side. And you can see here what I'm talking about, how it's like that. It seals on just that flat surface. So originally it came with 70 Durabuna O-ring, which is just completely way too soft, and I couldn't even finger tighten it. So I went to my shop and I got some 90s, way more durable and thicker, and it's doing the same thing. So what you need to do is use crush washers, or you can use bonded washers, and pretty much it's just going to squeeze this and it'll seal. Now it's kind of similar to when you on your oil drain plug, how it's supposed to have a crush washer. It's pretty much the same as that. So we're gonna do that right now and see if it leaks. So fully tightened, it should give you something like this. I like this better because you can also tighten as much as you possibly can, because it's not gonna extrude the O-ring or anything. So yeah, would highly suggest doing that. All right, so I got the car on. Doesn't look like it's leaking anymore, so that's good. Now I'm just gonna let it warm up and try to get the coolant situation figured out. I gotta bleed the coolant. Kinda did it, but I don't know, we'll see. All right guys, so I think I actually fixed it now. As you can see, temps are chilling. The thermostat is a 180 thermostat and it's currently chilling at a 184 driving around. So that sounds pretty good to me. What I had to do, everything I bought worked. I just had to make sure the bleeder hole, like the little bleeder hole on it, is on the top instead of the bottom, because it won't bleed correctly. And I took it out and I drilled it out to like a 3/8 instead of 1/8. I just drilled it out a little bit. It might have been not a 3/8, but just drill it out a little bit bigger. All right, so this is my water distribution block for the 1.6 liter EcoBoost. I designed this. Basically what its goal was to be a simple and clean looking distribution block. The stock one is big, bulky, and it just has a lot of functions I don't need because my car's a race car. You can still run factory heat, but I made it to where you could just delete it and it looks clean. Deletes the bypass valves because all you get is check engine light. It doesn't actually affect drivability. Uses a threaded sensor for the coolant temp, and it uses a -16 SAE O-ring and a -6 SAE. Might bump that up to a -8, not sure yet, but we're gonna test it out. So here's a quick difference between the new block and the old block. As you can see, this one looks a lot better. All right guys, so I installed it fully. It wasn't that bad of an install. I'm using a coolant hose from like a 2000 to 2004 Camaro or something like that. I got from Summit for 20 bucks. I just cut it. You can use really any hose. I don't think it really matters. Just make sure you have bends in it. So yeah, chrome fittings. I use steel wrenches on my stuff, so it's gonna chew them up, but I don't really care. So I'm on the first drive here. Coolant temp seems to be reading perfectly fine. No issues so far. No leaks. Our coolant temps are probably gonna be even a little better now. Just more flow, more direct flow. Here's a quick clip of the temps in the drive-through. Chilling at 185. It'll get up to like 190 and then it just goes right back down. So that's not too bad for me. Considering the stock thermostat, it opens at 207. So this is definitely an improvement. I like being around 180s. On the highway, cruising at 80, it's chilling at like 160, 170. It'll cruise up to 180 if it's like a 90-degree day. All right, guys, so it has been a couple months. I'm pretty bad at filming, but I don't like to end a video or like an install without, getting the results. So, because these aren't like tutorials, these are just my experience with this. So I wanted to make sure all of this stuff worked. Quick overview on my entire cooling system here. So I've got a base model Ford Fiesta thermostat housing with a stock thermostat. It's 180 degrees. That goes to coolant reservoir tank. And then I have this custom piece I made over here. You can use the stock one, you just have to block off the bypass valve part and you can just unplug it when it's fine. But I have that going on my radiator, Koyo rad. And then I have my -6 line going straight to my turbo here. And the block is epoxied. It's got like a 3/4 inch thick epoxy on the top of it. Have no issues. This thing cruises on the highway at like 160, 170, even when beating on it. I've never seen 200 degrees on this setup. I'll make a full parts list on what I used, but I run Mobil 1 oil filters, but that's a Sousa oil filter sandwich plate with a thermostat. 2-10 lines come into the Evil Energy Amazon cooler for now, but it works really good. Haven't had any issues with it. 4,000 miles I've driven so far. I've daily driven it, no issues. So yeah, if you guys want more videos, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get better at making the long format, like detailed videos. So yeah, see you guys in the next one.